to the Gigs podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Sanz, founder and CEO of Gigs, the professional career platform for the live event industry. Today, we have a very special episode for y'all. Drop me, and we're going! What's up? We are giving you the sneak preview inside the construction of Rock Nashville, the highly anticipated new campus from the team behind Rock Lititz. If you work in live events, you probably know Rock Lititz in Pennsylvania as the premier destination for tour prep, production, and collaboration. And now they're bringing that same vision to the heart of Music City. But this isn't just a rehearsal facility. It's a hub for community, wellness, co-working, training, and everything in between. We'll be touring the space and speaking with the people bringing it to life. Let's get into it. Robert Bull has worked in the live event industry for 30 years. Bull is a longtime leader at Clair Global and was selected as Rock Nashville's official advisor, helping build the network and partnerships that are making the campus possible. His nickname in town, the Mayor of Nashville. I think we'll see why today. What's up, Bull? Hey!
Nice to see you.
Thank you so much for giving me a tour today.
Absolutely.
So you've seen this industry really evolve through the years, through 30 years of working in it. How big of a moment is this for you and for this community?
I mean, I never thought I would see something like this develop, really. I mean, everybody's been talking about we need to do this, we need to do this. Nashville really needs this, right? And there's been other people that have attempted it, and it's a big push, right? And so I walk through here, and it's funny because every time I go back to our shop, Victoria, our receptionist, says, "Man, you're grinning bigger." And I said, "I'm like a donkey eating briars. I can't believe it," because I never thought this would happen, right? So it really is. It's amazing. And what does it do for the community? It's going to bring all the genres of music together, right? And that's the most exciting thing. It's not about Clair. It's not about sound check. It's about all the people in all of the music industry as a whole, what we're going to bring here, the people that are going to get to be here and to see this beautiful campus. And then what it's going to do for the community is it's going to give people opportunities that maybe they didn't have before, right? So new inspiring monitor mixers or backline techs or lighting people, they're going to have these opportunities. I mean, in the sound check building itself, we have 20 by 30 rooms, right? So we say from concept to stadiums, we have everything in between. So could you imagine being like an artist and going, one day I would love to do this, and then U2's rehearsing at the other end, right, in the big room, and that's reality, right? And so it's exciting. It's exciting to be able to lift the community as a whole. And the other thing is that I would like to say publicly, we are a guest here in this town in Nashville. Nashville is such a home community, and we are so thankful that the community has allowed Rock Nashville, the Rock Lititz community, to be a part of this. We're honored, we're humbled, and we're just excited for what we can do for the future.
Well, where are we standing right now?
So right now you're standing in the Tate Gallagher building.
All right.
This is 120,000 square feet, and they build sets and scenic and stuff for things that are on tours. This will be their manufacturing side here, their fabrication here, their office space will be over there. So
okay,
if you can dream it, they can build it.
Yeah, when did you guys break ground of Rock Nashville?
April of last year. And so what they did was, if you look at these walls, there's seams in the walls. That wall was actually built right on the slab. So they poured the slab, they put a barrier between the two, then they built a form around it, and then they poured concrete. Once all the walls were 70% hardened, they brought a team in with a crane and they stood these up, and then they put turnbuckles to hold the walls in place. What does that mean? That means that this 120,000 square foot facility was stood up in 2.5 days.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, when these guys, when the mayor's team goes to work, they are no joke at all. So this is pretty much an empty shell. This is kind of the last one to develop. As you get further in, you'll see that, sound check is a little further on. When I say we, I mean the team finally picked this place.
Yeah.
This was a hayfield, a year and a half ago. And
hard to believe because it's just 15 minutes north of the city, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
We're like 18 minutes from the airport, and we're 15 minutes from the city. And I mean, the location is just, it's, like I said, I can't quit grinning. I never thought we'd see this. And, honestly, I don't know if we would have had this opportunity if it wasn't for Ben and Katie Jumper. They are such a pillar part of Whites Creek community, and they are a very tight-knit community. We've been looking for 10 years, right, to do this, and where do we do it? So we looked north of town, we looked south of town, we looked more northeast of town. The difference is the Whites Creek community was very specific or very particular of who they let in. We did a town hall meeting, and they were very forthcoming of the people they did not let in, right? Yeah. So
you're gonna tell us exclusive?
No.
Okay.
We met with them. We met the community, told them what we're going to do, all the education that's coming, the job opportunities they have, and because Ben and Katie are such a pillar of the community and whatever, they allowed us to be here. And like I said, earlier, we are a guest in this town, and we know that, and we are beyond excited and humbled and thrilled to be here.
So cool. How is this campus going to be different from other facilities in town?
We really believe that this campus is going to lift everybody in town. Last week I had the guys from UTV and Steel Mill out here. We've talked to Tom Worley. We've talked to the guys at PRG. So a big mistake is that people want to come in and take over, and that's not the thing, right?
Yeah.
This community is meant to build the whole community as a whole, right? So there's going to be times when we're going to be filled up, and we're going to send people to our friends across town. But what makes this different? I think it's going to be the community, right? Whether it's manufacturers, wellness that we have on top of there, or up on the second floor of Soundcheck, whether it is, all being in one location. Try to get all your questions answered, like, I don't know how to do this. It's the forethought that we did, so there's a lot of technological advances that we did to move forward in the future. There's a lot of intercommunication, so the whole campus is actually fibered together. Yeah. So what does that mean? That means that if you're doing a rehearsal in one of the studios, and hopefully we're all booked, but you need to dial up, say, a TV mix or something like that, right? Or lighting has to do some programming. There's fiber to be able to talk to all the different facilities, whether it's in Soundcheck on top of that or over at Clair. So trying to think of those things, also being able to connect to Lititz. So say you have a musical director that's up in Lititz that is trying to, is doing a band up there and also has a band down there. And they want to see the work they've done. Well, they can do that, and we can tie the two campuses together via fiber, whether it's like a, kind of like a Zoom call, or you can get inputs from this campus up to that campus. So that's a work in progress, but we're definitely doing it, and we're really excited. Just trying to think of how can we service the community as a whole.
Well, and it's cool because Soundcheck was this community space for a lot of Nashville.
Absolutely.
And for that to go away, but sneak just a few miles up the road to be a part of you guys, and we're going to talk to Kendall here soon, but why do you think Nashville specifically needed something like this?
I think the diversity. A lot of times you talk about Nashville being country music. Man, there is some great underground pop stuff going on. I mean, I just think it is such a melting pot, and people want to be here. I think the rich history, is a huge deal. Was talking to the Clair family, and they said, we don't know if we could have ever done this in any other city.
Wow.
Because the accessibility, even in our shop in Ambrose, we never know who's going to walk through the front door. Somebody needs a microphone. Could be Stephen Wilson Jr., could be Garth Brooks. I mean, we have no idea,
totally.
Right? And so now to have this whole community, I think that Nashville just offers something the accessibility, right? And I think authenticity, and that's definitely what we want to build this campus upon, is organic authenticity, right? We're not trying to be anybody that we're not. Yeah. All of us that are on this campus have been here for over 20 years. We know what that means. We know the honor that it bestows upon us to be here. I just think that Nashville is just a special place, and obviously, the Rock Lititz and the Rock Nashville community feel the same way.
Big city feels like a small town.
Absolutely.
And I think this campus is about to be an even smaller town. The Yeller Building.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Cool. All right, so we're leaving Tate Gallagher right now.
We are.
Where are we heading?
We're heading to Clair Global. The Clair building is roughly 97,000 square feet of Clair. Rocket Cargo is also in the same space, and then we're really proud to say that Billy Alcorn custom cases, road cases, whether it's wardrobe or backline or whatever, he's part of the community as well. So we're really excited to have him in our building as well.
How often are you guys needing to, request special road case builds?
Quite often, to be honest with you, and a lot of times it's a little thing. But for us, we want to be the easy button, right, as a campus. So having Billy here is going to be amazing because, do you know anybody who can? And we're like, absolutely, he's right there. Because we don't have to know everything, we don't have to do everything, but we just have to know the right people.
Got to know the people.
Right.
So you have been in East Nashville and Lititz at Clair for the past 30 years. How does it feel having this monstrous building in the heart of Nashville now? It's
humbling, really. I mean, as things have grown, as business has grown, as we've expanded, it just helps. This is all about our clients, right? So this helps us better serve our clients and turn out great product. So it's unbelievably humbling.
What was your first job at Clair?
My first job was anything they needed me to do, and so my years at Clair started with John McBride. So he owned a company called MD Systems, and Garth Brooks was coming out. So I worked with John. I started with him in 93, and then Clair bought us in 97. So when I say 33 years at Clair, they've actually, you know, they gave me the years that I worked with John. So, but
awesome.
officially with Clair since 97. So.
All right, so this is the new Clair Global.
Yes, it is.
Tell me about the space.
So we joined forces with Sound Image, and so we are all going to be underneath one roof. The really interesting part about this is all the managers, department heads got to help with the layout. So everybody had something to say on this, even to where every plug-in is, where every Cat 5 connector is, to where the airlines are run. We're really proud of the fact that everybody had a say in how this runs. I think that's really special for Clair.
Well, when you've worked in it for so long, I mean, I'm sure combined all of y'all have like decades of experience knowing exactly where the power needs to be and where certain places that frustrated you. Early in your career, do you remember a time where you totally made a mistake and you had to make it right, or something that you're like, all right, I'm never going to do that again. I had to learn it the hard way.
So there's a political answer, and then there's the real answer.
Let's go real, man.
Okay, I'll start political.
Okay.
But it was, don't lie, right? Like if you make it's okay to make a mistake, because when you fall 6 feet forward, you're getting closer. And that was a big realization for me, because you always want to conquer the world. You never want to admit you don't really know what you're doing. And along with that, the reality of it is I found out what ground was. So I was tying in power and didn't tie my ground in first, and I got the shit shocked out of me. Thank goodness I'm safe, but I promise you, I will never do that again.
Oh my. If you had any advice to anyone who wants to come into the industry, specifically to Clair or to audio in that world, what would you say to them?
Work harder than anybody else and be nice. You know, back in the day, it used to be us versus them. Not really us versus them, but it was like, as a monitor mixer, if it would feedback, it was like, oh, front of house guy, or oh, monitor guy's doing that, and it's not that much anymore, right? Building teams is so important. That's the best. That's the way we're successful these days.
Yeah.
So I really think, you know, be willing to do anything. Be the first one there and the last one to leave, right? That you can smell that stuff, right? You know.
Oh yeah.
You can tell when somebody's got it when they don't have it. So I would just say, and then be kind. If there's something that you can do to help somebody else and it doesn't affect your job, why not do it? You're just standing there anyway. So that would probably be my biggest advice.
That's awesome. Thank you, Bull. I am so happy we got to talk, and I remember talking last January when you guys had the announcement of breaking ground to see how far y'all have come in such a short amount of time. So cool. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to do some fun stuff here.
Thank you very much. It's my honor.
Turns out they hired me. I'm on the construction team. I've actually always wanted to do this. Okay, thank you so much. Kendall Jumper was destined for live events because her parents, Ben and Katie Jumper, founded Crew One Productions, Mid-America Entertainment, and Catering to the Stars. Kendall grew up immersed in shows and tours, and after earning a rodeo scholarship to Troy University, she began her professional journey in hospitality management before joining Soundcheck in 2011. Now general manager of Soundcheck, Kendall has led through tornadoes, floods, and pandemics, and is now playing a pivotal role in growing Rock Nashville. Let's go get a tour. Hey, Kendall.
Hi, Nikki. Welcome to Soundcheck's new home.
This is so exciting.
I know.
All right, so we're walking up these stairs. Tell me about why the stairs are placed directly in front of the front door.
Yeah, so that was really important when we did this design because the community is a key component in that home feel. So as soon as we wanted to go, they come in the door, we wanted them to see the stairs or see our Soundcheck offices down at the bottom. You'll also find those are the only offices downstairs are our offices.
So people can come just bug you all day long.
Exactly.
We love that.
Yeah.
So you come up the stairs.
Yep.
And what are we walking into?
So we are walking into kind of like what we're calling the honeypot space of the campus. Rock Nashville's offices will be right here. But what you'll also see, there's about 25 tenants up here. You're going to see co-working space. You're going to see a wellness center. Rock Med's coming here, a training room, co-working space, along with all the other tenants that help kind of create this ecosystem here at Rock Nashville. So the goal is, if a client's having a problem, I told you about being there at that developmental stage. If we overhear a problem or can be the solution to their problem, even if it's not directly through us, really being that liaison, that connectivity on this campus. And the greatest thing up here also too is a cafe. We do have a cafe.
Let's go.
The thing is that the other spaces are not Tate, Clair, they're not putting in, they might be putting in break rooms, but they're not putting in full cafes because the goal is to get everyone on this campus to drive to the cafe. So we have lots of offices from pyrotechnics, staging, manufacturing reps from like Yamaha, Shure, and then previs rooms with Copilot, Diablo Digital, Clear All Visual, and then logistics. So we have stage call right here. And what's really been fun is some companies are actually making their office spaces really interactive. So they're putting in a golf simulator. Audio Technics over here is putting in like a front porch lounge situation. Cool. So they're really like taking in this, we want to drive business up here and drive to each other and help each other out, which is really fun and creative and collaborative. Right here is the cafe. It will serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It is an open floor plan, and then there is actually a back wall that if we're not busy can be open, and then if someone does want to have a private lunch, it can actually be totally closed down. The great thing about the cafe is the caterers in Studio 1 and 2 are actually running the cafe. So it also gives our band rehearsals, they can get food vouchers or they can get catering in their room, or if someone just has a business meeting and wants a lunch, we can get it.
So I could live here, is what you're saying?
Basically.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
We do have showers here too.
Yeah, and a gym?
And a gym.
Around the corner?
Gym's coming in right over there.
Gym?
Yeah.
So you have also wellness. So
wellness. So that is neuro, physical therapy, and wellness. They're going to have cold water plunge, sauna, acupuncture, all the things. And then the barber. So if you need a little haircut. So we're really trying to make it a one-stop shop. And again, back to the word home.
Home. We're living here.
Yep.
We're living in Rock Nashville, baby.
Yep.
So Kendall, we are outside of Studio 3, and we are outside because the microphones don't work when we're inside. What's going on?
We have an RF paint. This is not normal black paint by any means. It actually has metal pieces in the paint with the ground at the bottom of it. With all these studios being next to each other, which we'll kind of like walk through and see, we were concerned with the bleed, with the mics, the in-ear monitors, all of that. So we found this paint, we did some research, and it gives us about a 40 to 45 dB attenuation, and with all the TV companies around Nashville. So it's been pretty wild to see. Our team has done a great job. No one's really ever done this before. They kind of do a Faraday cage with copper or wire mesh, and this is actually a paint, and you're already seeing this is actually only one coat of paint. If we did 2 coats of paint, it would be a lot more. That way, when we have 15 studios going at once, there's absolutely no bleed over in RF frequency.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
So Studio 3, tell me about the size. How many of these do you have?
So this size specifically, it is 70 by 80. We have 2 of these, and when we built this studio, it was really important for us to be able to cater the developing artists all the way to the stadium tours. So I would say this is about a theater performance production. There will be a ground-supported truss grid in this room and the next. There's 2 identical. They can choose to use it or not. What's also great is we've partnered with Clair. All the rooms will have Cohesion audio and then Yamaha consoles. So the artists can either bring in their own stuff or we can prepare it for them just to walk in and go to help on their rehearsal time. You will actually see we had to think about acoustics too. So we partnered with the Metro Acoustics. There will be duckboard on the wall. You'll also see something different that's not in our current building is this little gap right here. That is a 1-inch rubber gap. Every single room in this studio is actually poured on its own isolated slabs. The sound cannot push through the concrete, the reverb. So we really took time in doing this. Also, every single room has a mix room and a bathroom. So that's an upgrade as well. That is also acoustically treated with a special exhaust system to help ventilate off the soundboards and everything else. Not only can they run it anywhere on this campus. But if someone wants to do an extra mix with a music director or anything like that, and they don't want to be in this room specifically, they can actually either go to Clair's building, a pre-viz suite upstairs, and actually work with the MD and help the artist with their vocals or anything like that.
I heard you can also send it to Lititz too, yeah?
Yes, you can. There's a dark fiber that you can send to Lititz.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. Evolving, changing, really growing what just band rehearsals are. I think it's really elevating that.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm in Lititz.
That is exactly the point. So we are really excited to bring this to Nashville. And what's even cooler is that by partnering with the Rock team, we are able to provide full production and then the technical band rehearsal studios. So back to what I was saying a little earlier, like we can really help that developing artist to get to the stadium. The goal is to have that, artist just coming up and blossoming in a studio right literally on the other side of the wall and be like, oh my gosh, so-and-so's in Studio 2 and I want to get there one day, and be a part of their path as they grow from the smallest room, which is 20 by 30, all the way to the largest room.
And is this for arena and stadium?
Arena shed.
Arena shed.
Yeah. So this is 125 by 100. We do have the grid above us. It is in the same bays as Lititz, and it is also etched on the floor. So you don't have to run lasers to hang your points. You can actually just drop your points, which makes it faster, more efficient load in.
Is that the case in Lititz, or is that
is
you guys?
the case.
Wow.
So that's something that's been great. Is we're kind of known for the band rehearsals. They're known for the full production rehearsals, and to totally come together, collaborate, and how can we make this the best scenario that we can. I know we'll have a few hurdles here and there. Who put that door there? But we'll get there. It'll be fun.
So you started as the office manager 2011, and now senior general manager of Soundcheck. So that's 15 years of experience in rehearsal facilities. What have been the biggest changes you've seen, and what are you most excited about here?
I would say the biggest change was COVID and a tornado all hitting within like
a month.
3 weeks, a month. As soon as we got on the uptick, and then just went totally backwards. And that was actually right when I moved into the general manager role.
Wow.
Our previous general manager actually gave us a year notice, and she timed it just perfect. So I kind of came into a little bit of chaos. But what I'm most excited about is the growth. We've been in an old building on Cowan since the previous owners in 1993.
Wow.
And as the business has evolved, the customer service, the crew care, all of that, I can only do so much in the current building state that I'm in. So all the ideas and the wants that we've wanted to do to partner with the Rock team and this whole facility and just be able to do all the things is probably the most exciting to me. And to provide the production studios. That's always been a need in this city. There's always, everyone's outsourcing, going to the arenas early to load in and put their production in. So now this gives them a home. And that's the biggest thing, to keep the home for the music industry.
Let's talk about home. I mean, home is a very core value of y'all's, and especially being in Nashville, where people are everything, and it's a small town. How are you guys going to be bringing that home to Rock Nashville?
I think that's been important with the team, keeping the culture, keeping that, kind of like little fire alive of Soundcheck. And I hope when people come here, they actually see some of the same things a little elevated. That is that little, that still is Soundcheck. That I remember that, even though we are moving a whole new facility, but just being a cornerstone for people, a hub. Like, they come in off the road, they have a little imposter syndrome, not being on the road, coming home, but be their comfort zone, provide them trainings, mental health, all community benefits, but also just be a comfort zone to them. It's kind of like eating comfort food, but it's like a place, and you're like, this is just it. I can't even explain it.
I love it.
And that's been really important, because I know that Soundcheck has not always been the nicest studios. Like I mentioned, we haven't upgraded. We've been in an old building. So to upgrade and then provide those customer service experiences, care, all that, I think it's just gonna knock it out of the park.
So we're outside of sound check.
Yes.
What are we looking at?
We're looking at, I would say, the dock bus area, deliveries. And we're actually really proud of this. This is in our current situation on Cowan, Claire's current situation, parking, driving in has always been a situation. So this is something that we really took to heart. And so the way the campus works is the trucks and buses come kind of on the interior, a little around the edge, and stay here, and all cars are on the exterior. So you do not have to fight any cars at all in a perfect world. We have also done the math, and no bus or truck should have to unhook from their trailers at any time to get around.
Wow.
And that's really great for bus call or anything else. Super stoked about that one, or having someone to move here and there. And what you'll also see is we're already thinking about growth, scaling up. There's little areas in the walls, kind of by that gray shipping container, that are kind of notched out. So you'll see those all through the campus. Those are actually called punch-out walls. So if we decide, hey, we need more docks, we're that busy, we can punch out those areas, and they're all kind of throughout the campus.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. A little knockout.
You guys are just ready to take a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
And I mean, do you know how many docks you have?
I have 24 alone on my building.
Damn.
I do not know about this building.
Woo.
And then that is 4 drive-ins as well. So
Drive-ins.
Yeah, so we are standing on a drive-in right here. So if a client has a weird request, they want their car in, we can take it on in.
All right.
But also to unload the buses, and over on the other side of this green area, you'll see there are 3 buses wide drive-in.
Got
so I
it.
can have 3 buses unloading at one time.
Dude.
Yes.
To the next. Marissa Rincuso is the Initiatives Program Manager for both Rock Lititz and Rock Nashville. A former touring stage manager and project manager at Tate, she's passionate about holistic support for live event professionals. So she's going to give us a quick tour. So let's go. What's up, Marissa?
Hey, how are ya?
So good to see you. Okay, so you started as an intern at Tate 6 years ago.
Yep.
Tell me about your story and what you're working on right now with Rock Nashville.
Absolutely. So 6 years ago, in 2019, I started as an intern at Tate as a project management intern for touring. I fell in love with the live events industry. I'd been working theater prior to that, but really became so passionate about all of the different facets of live events and what concerts are like. Cut to, I started as a full-time project manager, and as I started my journey with Tate, I fell in love more and more with the big picture and supporting the whole person inside the concert touring industry. I had the immense privilege of touring with the Weekends Camp as an assistant stage manager in 2023.
Damn.
And it was just so eye-opening and incredible, and had one of the best crews I had ever worked with, and it made me really passionate about supporting crews in their entire journey from start to finish. And so now I'm here. I've been working with Rock Lititz for about 2 years now, and I'm so stoked because I actually just moved this weekend to Nashville.
Oh my gosh!
Yes, to start working here based out of Rock Nashville. And so we are so stoked because all the work we've been cultivating in Lititz is growing with the partnership here with Soundcheck in Nashville, and we're stoked about the community.
So cool. Okay, so what kind of support and development are you guys gonna have?
We're gonna have whole person support here in Rock Nashville. So when I say that, it means helping support the entire individual. So trainings, professional development. So you'll think about CPR and first aid and forklift and all of those kind of training-based skill sets. And then beyond that, we'll have professional development such as leadership training, really thinking about how we grow people in their careers. And then beyond that, we have lots of fun social and networking opportunities to make sure that we're connecting, plus a bunch of different discussion groups. So in Lititz, we have a variety of different topics we talk about on a regular basis, every month or a couple times a year. And we're really excited to see what Nashville wants to talk about.
So what do you hope this environment feels like for someone walking in for the first time?
I hope that they feel welcomed and invited, a place where everyone feels at home. Especially for touring crews, it can often feel like there isn't a really set home as you're moving city to city. And I think something that I've really loved about working at Rock Lititz, and I'm so stoked because I know it's like that at Soundcheck and what Rock Nashville will be, is a new home here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Talk about wellness. So that's where you really specialize in, and what does that mean, bringing wellness into the touring industry and into Rock Nashville?
I think it's really important to recognize that we're all people period. And in this industry, it is so often that our careers and our personal lives are so intertwined. And so thinking about them in isolation often just isn't doing us a service. We all work crazy hours. We're in a new city every single day. And so being able to support people in the context of their environments is really important to me. We're really passionate about providing mental health resources that work for individuals. So making sure it's within the timing that works for them in the cities that they are at, whether it's virtual or in person, and a variety of different topics, whether it's within like career coaching or whether it's in personal mental health or in connections and developing their relationships.
Relationship management.
Relationship management, yes.
It's tough.
Huge.
Very, very, I mean, there's really no other job like it where people are gone from home, come back to life, and they're living two separate lives at the same time.
Absolutely.
So they can come here and really have people to talk to and have that not only community of, you know, everyone upstairs and hanging out and feeling like they belong to something, but then they have other people to talk to.
Absolutely. And I also love to think that with Rock Lititz, and I'm so stoked about Rock Nashville, is this also becomes a hub for the families and the partners at home. And so it's really great to see, and I think that a big point of connection happens with not only supporting the touring individuals, but also the people who are here at home.
That's huge, especially with so many families living in Nashville.
Absolutely. And Nashville's always been a hub for that, but now I'm really excited to see that here present in this space as well.
So cool. What are you specifically the most excited about?
What I'm most excited about is truly connecting with the Nashville community. Nashville is such a warm city. It has so many incredible music industry professionals here. And I think that this particular campus is going to thrive so well here within Nashville. Cool. And excited to make some new friends.
Well, welcome to Nashville.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to know you now. Yay. Thank you for doing this.
Absolutely.
All right, we are sitting down now with Scott Appleton. Scott brings nearly 4 decades of experience in the live event industry. He began touring with Clair in 1987, spending over a decade on the road with some of the biggest names in music. In 2023, he was named Vice President of Rock Nashville, helping lead one of the most anticipated expansions in the industry, and we are going to get into it right now. So, Scott, thank you for being on the Gigs podcast.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
I want to start with, you know, you've been in this industry for decades. You've seen so much change. What is the biggest change that you've seen over your career?
Technology. You know, from when I started, you know, an audio was analog. I mean, it's rare that you see analog nowadays in a live touring or broadcast events. So technology, I think, is the biggest difference.
What kind of tech are you guys bringing into Rock Nashville?
The network that's being supplied here, the IT network. So it's Wi-Fi 7. And so that is pretty big technology. It's really early to the market, and it has a lot to do with the relationship that Clair Data Services and Savari has with Cisco.
I mean, I don't know anything about, what is this, Wi-Fi 7?
Wi-Fi 7, yes.
Is that just a stronger Wi-Fi network?
Yeah, it's stronger, it's better, you know, it's more adaptable to new devices, those kinds of things. I can only speak very little to it. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I certainly can say it. I spent enough time in it to basically fool the person that knows nothing, right?
There we go. Okay, so what did it feel like being asked to be vice president of Rock Nashville and to bring this massive campus to Music City?
To me, it's amazing that nothing like this was ever here before. Not even like, you know, Soundcheck had nice rehearsal spaces for the city and for the need, but there was no real major production facility. And for a city that's so rich in live events, and it has been doing live events generating from this city and going out into the U.S. and into the world for decades, it's amazing that something like this hasn't happened in the past, and certainly has been talked about. There's been a lot of people that have tried it and put plans up, but haven't been able to really break ground and bring it to where we are right now. And that's been really fun to see it and be part of it. And, you know, quite frankly, I think that there'll be down the road in time, people where you can go, oh, I remember when Rock Nashville broke ground and was built, right? You know, and how it maybe changed the city and the industry in live events.
Especially when you have so many people based here, because especially country touring, you're leaving on the Weekend Warrior. Every bus call is in Nashville.
Yeah.
And so we all know Rock Lititz as a pristine, amazing, premier rehearsal facility. And so we're all used to going up there, being up there for a month or two. And, it's a very small town. So, this being in a hub where you got more than just the local Target around, nothing against Lititz. I love me some Lititz. That's a huge deal when you have crew members that can be at rehearsal and still go home to their families that night. So was that part of the decision in bringing the next campus to Nashville, or were there other cities that you guys were considering?
No, I think Nashville is the next obvious choice. Clair Nashville has a big presence here, and our recent acquisition was Sound Image. They also have an office here, and Clair Integrations has an office here. So bringing everybody in one roof made the most sense, as well as Soundcheck. They have such a strong brand here and really deeply mixed in the local culture. So with them having Oracle buy out their property and them needing to relocate, it made the most sense in coming here. And like you say, there's so many vendors, there's so many freelancers, people, artists, musicians, all in this city. And it's so, for people that don't live here like you and I, they don't realize that Nashville is such a really small city in a way, and it's so compact with not only the music scene, but the food scene, and just has just a great vibe around it. And so that's why I think it was the obvious choice to move on to next.
All right, Scott, first job in the industry.
Working at Clair.
At Clair?
Mm-hmm.
What was your position?
I can tell you a brief whole story of it.
Well, we have some microphones in front of us. Okay. Let's do it.
So it started with, I graduated high school in 84. I milled around. I had no direction or anything like that. But a buddy of mine played in this heavy metal band, and they were, really popular. We did 3 shows a year. So
huge.
Yes, hugely popular.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, I wasn't living at home, and Clair in I think the summer of '86 did Live Aid, and the Philadelphia Inquirer, a major Philly paper, did an article on Roy and Jean Clair, and it was in the fall of '86, and my mother had cut it out and gave it to me, said this was something you might be interested in, and so I read the article, and where I was living in Pennsylvania, Lititz was about an hour and 20 minutes away from me, right? So it was drivable for me to go to. Called them. They weren't hiring at the time. I kept a newspaper clipping. May of '87 rolls around. I really disliked my job. And so, and I had no future. Like I could not figure out what I was going to do in the next 2 or 3 years. And so I called up and they said, come on up and fill out an application. They were hiring. And when I showed up, they were really hiring just about any idiot that walked in the door, because that summer was probably their busiest summer they had had year to date. In the 20 years from 66 to 87, basically had been open. This was going to be their biggest summer. They had Madonna outdoor tour going on. They had Bon Jovi, Leaping Frog, outdoor systems. They had U2, Peter Gabriel, so they were doing so many tours. And this is back in the days when they kept track of tours on like a whiteboard that they wrote down, right? And with the accounts that they had, it was only like 60 employees. So I walked in the door. Their old shop was these 2 tennis courts that they built this brick wood shop on the back of. And pulling up to the place, I saw the wood shop, and I don't know why it resonated with me, but in those days you had this one sheet like you filled out for an employment, right? No resume. And so I filled it out and I put in, I had wood shop in high school, right? Which was a gross misrepresentation of my woodshop skill set. So I asked if there was anybody to talk to. Troy Clair was really kind of like the shop manager, but the shop was like 16 people. They had no titles or anything. It was Roy and Jean Clair were the boss and everybody else worked for them, right? But Troy comes up and interviews me and is like, oh, I see you have woodshop experience. I was like, oh, sure do. But I got like a D- in woodshop in high school. Like I had to beg to pass, right? So they put me they hired me right then and there because they were really hiring any idiot.
They needed people.
Yeah. And they were running 2 shifts. So I got hired to do the second shift. And, I was like on day 2 or 3, they figured out that I sucked in the wood shop, right? So they did a swap with someone. The speaker department didn't like the guy that was working in the paint booth. So they traded me for him. And so
pause. Vibe is everything.
That's
okay?
right.
Personality got you to switch with the guy that they didn't like. Okay. I like it.
So I ended up going in the speaker department and I painted speakers black and basically begged to go out on the road. And eventually, Clair at that time still did a good many regional gigs. And so they put me on a few of them, and I that's where I did well. I did well being out and gigging and doing shows. I was horrible in the shop, but when you got me out there, I didn't mind working 20 hours, going out when I was gigging, because that's what I love to do.
So who were those first few bands that you went out with?
My first real tour was Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton. It was a Kenny Rogers Christmas tour.
Goodness.
And Kenny was still selling like 10,000, 12,000 seats a night. And him and Dolly, they were selling, 15,000 seats or so. And so it was a pretty big rig and arena tour. They were very nice. Dolly was an extremely nice person. And you were well taken care of, and it was like a lot of fun. And I did this Christmas tour, and which was really cool to be working at that time of year and stuff. And so that was my first one. And then next year I followed up. The following year I did The Who, U2, and Don Henley. So I did 3. And U2 was in Europe, and so it was my first time going abroad and working. So that was a lot of fun.
And what was your role?
Just PA tech.
Tech, okay.
I knew no audio when I walked into Clair. Like if you gave me a mic, an amplifier, a mixing console, and a speaker, there was no way I was making it to work, right? I really knew nothing. Yeah. But fortunately for me, the size of the company and the size of the staff they were putting on a tour, they needed people that could hang PA, mic the stage, load and unload trucks. And I honed in on that. I knew that I was not going to dazzle anybody with my audio skill because I had none. So it was like, okay, what can I do? And it was like, okay, I could manage hands. I could load trucks, unload trucks, hang PA, mic the stage. If I did that well, then I thought, I would have a niche, right? I would have a role on tour. And that's really how I got there.
And then do you learn the ears? Like, do your ears learn the job?
Yeah, I think so. I think that what ended up happening is after several tours, I eventually came to the realization that if I didn't learn audio, and especially if I didn't mix, I wasn't going to really make good money, right? So I was like, okay, well, I watched people mix, and I was around all the shows and stuff like that, and I'd ask questions, and eventually it got to be where I had an opportunity. And so really, unbeknownst to me, my ears learned how good sound is, what it sounds like, right? And so it was just trying to figure out how to get it there. Once again, I worked behind some of the best mixers in the business, and so they gave me tips, and I would listen to them. And so when I got into it and I had my opportunity, I was able to perform, and I did a good enough job that they didn't fire me, so I got another job, and that's kind of how it went,
To start with U2, Don Henley, and The Who, man, you were hearing some good sound.
Yeah. Yeah. It really kind of jaded me with musicians though, because when you go out to, when I would go out to other bands, I'd be like, it's okay. You know what I mean? Because
this is music.
Yes, no. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I toured with Sting. I toured with Paul Simon. So, like Paul Simon had
He's my man. That's my favorite of all time.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I did a world tour with him, and it was so much fun. We went really all over the world, and yeah. Michael Brecker, Steve Gadd, Richard T., Chris Bodie were all in the band. So it was a who's who of studio cats.
Wow. Yeah. Sorry, for my own, I have to know. What Paul Simon tour were you on?
A Rhythm of the Saints, I think what the tour was. It started in November of 90. We ended in like January, February 92 in South Africa. Yeah, it was good.
I'm so jealous. Okay. I've seen his last 2 farewells and this last one in the Ryman.
Oh, right.
Were you working on it?
No.
Okay.
What was interesting about the Paul Simon tour, that was the last tour I did with no video. The Universal crew was either 16 or 17, and the Universal band was either 17 or 18. I remember the band outnumbered the crew by 1 person.
Wow.
Yeah. And I still have very close friendships from that tour. There's still 3 or 4 people that I still keep in regular contact with, and
that's so cool.
Yeah, it was a great tour to be on, and it was a shame that it was so early in my career that
yeah,
kind of. There was other great tours after it, but that was tough. I mean, the other thing too is Paul stayed on his own. Him and he stayed in a different hotel. So we stayed in the hotel with the band. So we stayed in Ritz-Carlton's or Four Seasons everywhere we went. Our travel was first class, and I never got to that level again after Paul Simon, But he was very kind that way.
My first tour was 2 nights in the same arena, and so my first idea of what tour was like was buses, you load in, you have a show, you have a hotel, easy day the next day.
Yeah.
And then I went on a real tour and I was like, oh, this is a lot harder than that. So, all right. So were you doing monitors and front of house? Have you really worked every role you can in audio?
Yeah, I mean, I worked a lot of different ones. In Clair organization, starting really taking out the trash and painting speakers was very entry level. And then, touring, once again, I was really an entry level tour. Did a Steve Miller tour, but a mixer named Steve McHale, he mixed Miller and I mixed the band.
So cool.
Monitors. My limited house mixing skill was Dave Morgan, a very well-known front of house mixer who recently retired. He mixed, we did Paul Simon, a residency at the Madison Square Garden Theater, or the theater, Madison Square Garden, whatever it was called. And he mixed the A console and I mixed like the percussion. But, Dave would really EQ everything and stuff like that. I ran faders and got to stand in front of the house and looked like I was mixing, right? But so that was kind of it. I learned enough and got enough. I made more money than I did, hanging PA.
Yeah.
And, it was interesting and stuff like that. But in the end, after I had toured from 88 to 2000, and at that time period, I'd done 10, 12, 13 years or whatever it was. And I was just like, I'm really done with this. So then I had a brief time where I went and worked as a broker at Morgan Stanley. Totally different story.
Wow.
Then I came back to Clair. I was only going for like 20 months and I started in operations in the Lititz shop. And so did that. And then after about 10 years of that, Matt Clair had come into the operations department. He had recently graduated college and was working in there for a while. So I wanted to kind of move out of that. And that's when I went into more account managing. And then the Clair Data Services role came up. And then I moved down to Nashville in 2018. My wife, daughter, and I moved here.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay. So in 8 years, data services, why you to spearhead this as VP of Rock Nashville?
Well, I kind of heard that they were looking for somebody like me to run Nashville. I kind of found out that the reason they were kind of, I think, afraid or nervous to approach me, given that, they didn't want to make the Clair family upset or anything, that they kind of went after me. So I approached them. But I made it known that I wanted to stay involved with Clair and stay the GM of Clair Nashville, as well as taking on this role. In my whole career, and this is something for, new people entering the business, I didn't want to fail, but I feared not having opportunity more than I feared failing. So as long as I had opportunity, I knew I would try my best. And if I failed, I failed, but I wouldn't regret not trying, right? So that was really my whole career was always that. Like I didn't want to fail, but I didn't fear failing like some. Like I see a lot of people that are extremely talented and smart, but they won't go for it because they fear that they'll fail and they'll maybe look ridiculous. And I guess I didn't really care if I looked ridiculous, right? It didn't bother me as much. So I always wanted opportunity. And so when this opportunity came up, it was like, being part of something that's just new and different. And I was going to be on the campus anyway with Clair. So it just kind of felt like it was really right. And Andrea Shirk, I think a lot of knew I was going to be answering to her. I really thought that would be good. I knew there was good leadership and ownership with Adam Davis and the Clair family and stuff. So
great. What are you most excited for come December when rehearsals are starting here? What are you really looking forward to?
The energy when artists and bands come in and start working their craft, that's what I'm most excited about. And the crews that come in and support that, you kind of get the closest you can to Showtime without actually being on tour and being Showtime in this realm, I think. And so that's what I'm looking most forward to, bringing in new people, lifting them up, encouraging them, mentoring others. I have an opportunity to really touch more people than I ever had, and hopefully in a very positive way, and give back to all that I was given for so many years.
Yes. And what is the thought behind the community and bringing all of these different music industry, touring industry companies all under this one roof? Is that similar to the Lititz philosophy?
I think the big difference between Rock Nashville and Rock Lititz is the freelancers and the amount of vendors that are in Nashville comparative to Lititz. Lititz has Tate and Clair, two really big players in the event space. Down here, they both have presence here, but there's also so many other vendors as well. But also a huge amount of freelancers and a huge amount of artists and musicians all concentrated in this very nice, small community. Like, I aspire that Rock Nashville is the home to the Music City community. You know, that's what I would really like. When I toured with Paul Simon in those early 90s, we used to rehearse at SIR in New York. What I loved about it was when I was rehearsing there and the artists that were there were other artists that always came down to rehearsals, checked in with them, talked. When we did Paul Simon and there was Steve Gadd there and all those tons of guys from Saturday Night Live would come over and hang and they would talk shop and stuff like that. It was just this amazing buzz. And so if we could get something like that going here, whether it's tech or musicians, you know, they're really a really creative environment, and that people are delivering their skill set and expanding their skill set and making a living at it and enjoying the process is what I hope we really do.
Phenomenal answer. I love that. So 5 years from now, Rock Nashville is open, thriving community inside. What does success look like for you?
Well, I mean, we are a business. So financially, we got to be successful, right? So I'm hoping that we're able to deliver that. And the other would be success of all the vendors and the freelancers coming onto the site. You know, the tenants that are here, their business are prospering. And that the freelancers in the Nashville areas, they see an uptick in their lifestyle, their income and stuff like that. And that creatively, you know, maybe artists are doing things here that they can, you know, I wrote this song or I did this or I rehearsed here, something back to Nashville. Like there was a collaboration. So it's just like, you know, kind of going back to what I just said, it's just, you know, an environment where everything is prospering and it's a really good vibe. You know, that would be to me 5 years when people come out and it's a very kind of harmonious work environment, would be a success.
The resonating word that I've heard so far on my tours has been they want this to be the home.
Yes, absolutely.
And
yeah.
I can already feel that. So Thank you, Scott, for giving your time.
Sure.
Very excited to watch this grow.
Oh, great. Thank you.
We are now sitting down with Rachel Fenning-Hales. Rachel is the Senior Global Manager of Brand and Content for both Rock Lititz and Rock Nashville. So, Rachel, thank you for joining the Gigs podcast for a second time.
Thank you
Let's
for having
go.
me. I love it. Anytime.
Yay. Well, today has been so cool just seeing everything and walking through with these key people making this thing happen. I want to know for you, coming into Rock Nashville, being at Rock Lititz, what is the story that you're trying to tell with this campus?
I love live entertainment, and it's no surprise. I really love the crews that help build it. So in Lititz, over the last 10 years, we've really been able to help tell the story of how those crews come together, how those productions collaborate, and how we can really be there for each other. Nashville is such a great next chapter for us at Lititz and also for Nashville. We're really hoping to show on a larger scale what we can do together. It doesn't matter location or production or what type of genre you're playing to, but if we all join together, we can be more efficient with our productions, with our crews, and with ourselves.
Love that. So you started out on the road.
I did.
You were touring. Your husband also was touring, right? Didn't you guys meet on the road?
We did. We met during the first year that I was on tour. He's worked for Tate kind of forever. But I was working in the production office, and then being able to kind of cross paths and see each other all over the country. We just kept running into each other. It was really fun. But I do joke sometimes, if a place like Rock Lititz had existed or Rock Nashville had existed when I first started touring, there was so much back and forth around getting people in and out for rehearsals and getting gear or replacement spaces or things that were forgotten or things that needed to get changed back and forth and back and forth. And the idea of a place like this is really that there can be a central hub. You can go to Tate, you can go to Clair, you can go to Rocket, and it's all right here, right on that campus.
So this is where the single people in the industry need to come.
Exactly.
This is where it happens. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay.
Honestly, you gotta go.
No, that's okay. So very, very cool. When did you start getting involved with Rock Lititz?
So I've been living in Lititz for about 10 years.
Dang.
It's unbelievable to think it's been that long. I had been on tour. My husband and I had the chance to live in Belgium for a little bit, helping with some of the productions that were happening there. And as we moved back, my husband was already connected with Tate, and so Lititz was his home base. And I moved to Lititz right as they were finishing the build for Studio One. And met Andrea Shirk and met Gary Ferenchek, who were really the only two teammates hired at that point. So Andrea Shirk and I like to joke that when we first met, I walked in and she told me straight up there was no job for me. She could hire as many people as she had hired, but we really hit it off. And so by the end of our conversation, she asked if I wanted to help with the grand opening. And I have been taking projects for Rock Lititz ever since.
Wow. So how special is this moment then, being a part of the opening of Rock Lititz, which was truly like groundbreaking, such a gorgeous facility.
When we opened Rock Lititz, it was one studio building in a cornfield. And I loved that part of the project because it did take a lot of vision. It was a lot of asking people to buy into the idea, come to this cornfield.
Yeah.
It's one building now, but it will be more. It will be this whole campus. So being able to see that grow and reach other locations and other audiences and reach more people outside of just that Lititz area feels really special. And here in Nashville, we're actually able to start by building the whole campus right at the start. So it's been different, but it's been so rewarding and so fun to see everybody from Nashville getting so excited.
It's a little bit more than a cornfield over here. I mean, it's pretty amazing y'all found such good location.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if you've checked out the surrounding areas, but like talk about rehearsals with a view. There's hills, there's trees, like this area, I could walk this campus all day. They found such a great spot.
And like 10 minutes to downtown. So
10 minutes to downtown, less than 20 minutes to the airport. We're right off the Briley Parkway.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's so cool. Okay. So tell me more about community, because I know that is like big with you, the community here. And we've gotten to hear it already from everyone else, but I know that's holds a particular light for you. Would love to hear you speak on that, and then some of the online initiatives you guys have too.
The Rock Lititz community was a space I got to spend a lot of the early part of my time at Rock Lititz. I've been able to jump around a lot. But really from the start, we wanted to set out to be a place that would bring crews and people together. Teams not only for their productions, but also to build towards a safer industry, a more efficient industry, and ultimately kind of a kinder industry. I think we've all been on tour. We know that it can be really challenging. So it started with the first rehearsal in Lititz of what can we do to make rehearsals easier? And from there, it was able to grow. So over the last 9-10 years, we've been able to do regular programming. So we would do regular trainings, we would do social events, happy hours. So many opportunities for us to connect both in that production sense, but also to get to know each other in a community sense as well. And so in Lititz, it's been a really important part of our growth there, that when you're coming to campus, it's not just the production space, but it's also the social space and the crew areas that we're going to be able to welcome you into. So from the medical office to the CPR trainings to monthly happy hours, we want you to come and join in with us. So it's a really big goal for us here in Nashville to be able to be a hub and a home base so that you can come here and you can get the training you need, or you can get the tailored mental health support you need, or you can get the cool connections on campus. It's the programming, but it's also just the natural way that this industry is drawn together. You get enough production and tour people in the same vicinity, and it's fun. People are telling stories, people are learning from each other, people are helping each other. And that's really what we hope for this space.
That is so cool. And Marissa was talking a little bit about how this space is not only for the touring community, but also their families and things. And so I'm curious, because your family is a touring family. Y'all get it. You know, your kids grew up with both parents in it. But for those who have people that are outside of the industry, spouses, you know, that's a tough life to explain. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you're bringing people together there?
Honestly, I think it's probably a part of our industry we need to improve on in a big way. We go out on tour, and while we're starting to see support for the crews come up, so much of our life is also at home. And so finding a way to be able to balance and do both can be really challenging. I really love working in a space where my husband also knows the context of where I work. I think it makes so much of that work so much different for us to navigate as a family. But being in Lititz and working with so many people whose families and spouses maybe aren't as directly connected, it was an unanticipated benefit for us gathering together, having that campus space. We were starting to meet each other, know each other's families. I have 3 young kids. It's not as young anymore, but 3 younger kids.
Yeah.
And a lot of their friends and family that we've grown up with together since they were babies are people from that community.
Cool.
We have similar work schedules. Our kids just start to see each other at events and get to know each other. But in ways that we weren't expecting, it added this really interesting level of support. We have a lot of people who travel. So it can be a little odd if you're at a school event or at your birthday party and you're missing a parent or your family has to change their plans last minute. But in our space, it is really a much more common thing where you might be at a family gathering and some people are missing because they have work, or, hey, last minute, somebody had to leave and travel. And so we're able to be a different support for each other. Our kids get it differently. It's really been cool to see that grow. Something I love about Nashville.
Yeah.
Nashville, you guys do this so much more organically because so many of you already live here. I think it's going to be really cool to see, like, hey, what happens when our families are able to join in on that too?
Yeah, that's a different world.
Yeah.
Super cool. Because it's a lonely space. So,
well, and Nashville does it so well already.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of ways, that's what made it such a natural fit is how can we come to Nashville and learn from you guys as well, but also bring some of the stuff we've been able to discover in Lititz.
is there a moment during this build that gave you chills?
It's funny with this project being in Nashville and being based in Lititz. So much of the Lititz project you see day to day.
Yeah.
And we'd even joke, you might be gone for a week or two and a whole new project pops up or a whole new building, like the steel goes up and it looks so impactful. So seeing that over the years kind of slowly build has been so fun. Here, I've been able to come every couple months and it's amazing how much happens in those months.
It's insane.
Even just for this trip, showing up and there's walls in places I wasn't anticipating and, you know, finishes that I didn't realize we'd have all the windows and all the doors. And so I think those moments definitely give me the chills because you see how much has happened in such a short amount of time. It was really an aggressive timeline.
I was about to say, very aggressive. It's so funny. That's like the one thing I remember at the grand opening or the grand announcement.
Yeah.
And then everything online was like, there's no way they're going to be open by
We still
2025.
have people asking when we're breaking ground. And it's like, dude, we are so fast breaking ground. We have all 3 buildings up.
Right.
You know, and being able to see that progress. At one point you came in and all the walls, like all the concrete walls were down on the ground.
Right.
Big slabs. So it was kind of funny. We could walk on the studio walls and be able to kind of see what that was like. But then not that long later, the walls were popped up and it looked so different. And so being able to see those quick transitions has been really, really special. But I think for me, the moments that are really going to give me chills is when we start seeing people in the building.
Ooh.
Right? When we start seeing
man.
the crews happening and playing around. And so we do have the 2 really big production studios. We have smaller. Studio 3 also has truss and is ready for production. But then all those smaller band and rehearsal and kind of meeting spaces, there's going to be so much foot traffic here between people coming for their lockers and coming for rehearsals. That's one of my favorite things.
Loud space. Let's get the people in here.
Heck
it's
yes.
so sick.
Oh, and it's so fun too because you're expecting who's on your tour, maybe, but it's who you run into. I didn't know you were going to be here. Oh, hey, I'm in Studio 1 and you're in Studio 3. Like, you just get to see so many more people. It's fun.
It's kind of like the whole point.
Yes.
Yeah. That is so cool. Is there anything else you want to share about this project or what any initiatives you guys have going on?
Beyond our rehearsals, Rock Lititz is really committed to being able to push towards a strong, vibrant industry together. We do a lot of focus on collaboration, but also a lot of focus on education and industry awareness. So that's something that we can expect to see as Rock Nashville gets up and off the ground. We're starting with rehearsals, getting our tenants in, but we do hope to start introducing some of our educational programs. We do an in-classroom rock box experience. We kind of do like an escape room in your classroom that can go to middle schools.
Love.
We do an experience live event for college and high school students on different days that are able to really promote careers in the industry. And then all of the training and programming at the community level, really focusing on what we can learn from each other and what we can bring to the industry collectively. So we're really excited to see that grow and see how Lititz and Nashville can collaborate together to create something really special.
Oh, and I can't wait to have some gigs events with you guys.
Heck yeah.
And it's going to be some cool
I cannot
stuff.
wait. I cannot wait.
Well, I can't thank you enough for helping schedule all this. Like, it really is so special to be able to give kind of the exclusive sneak preview, really have everyone come in January. And it'll be cool to kind of do a follow-up of seeing some of these spaces totally change when all the people are in here.
It's going to be so cool. And thank you to Gigs. I mean, Gigs has given such a voice to this industry in such a special way and celebrate our crews in such an important way. It's great to be able to see so many people flocking and listening to what we
shocking.
do.
We're
It's
like,
amazing.
What's going on? Yeah. Thank you. That's the whole goal. So I really appreciate you. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'll see you in freaking December, man. This is
Heck
gonna be so
yeah,
cool.
we'll see you soon. We can't wait to be here in Nashville.